I've got to get something off my chest. I made a video a little while ago saying how stupid Sheryl Crow was for her 1 square of toilet paper statement, and it was stupid. Joke or not, it was a dumb thing to say. But what I really want to get out, after a few shows I've seen, interviews I've heard on radio recently, I want to talk about the other end of the global warming, climate change debate. The people who say there's either no problem whatsoever or the problem is vastly overstated. Those people are fucking liars. To put a mild disclaimer in front of that, not everyone who doubts, for instance, say Al Gore's view is a liar. People raise some very good points, and just generally, skepticism is a good thing. Don't be spoon-fed things. Look things up for yourself. Get some competing points of view. Make a value judgment. But what really bugs me, people start to talk about the global warming industry. It isn't an industry, okay? What is an industry are the energy industries that are fueling 99.9% of the arguments against climate change. These are companies who are protecting their short-term massive profit margins at the expense of open public discourse. One thing you'll often hear is there are a lot of scientists, sometimes people will say an overwhelming number of scientists, who question the whole global warming thing. Bullshit! The overwhelming scientific consensus of people who actually know what they're talking about in the field, climatology, huge-scale geological issues, the overwhelming scientific consensus is there is an extremely serious problem. Now, exactly how far the problem's going to go, exactly what's causing it, exactly what the best course of action is, that's all up for argument. But what is not up for argument is the overwhelming informed scientific consensus saying we have a real issue with man-made climate change. There are scientists who speak against global warming. They are a very small number, which in and of itself does not discredit them. Most of them have no background in the relevant scientific disciplines to make a value judgment, but that alone does not discredit their point of view. And if you want to shrink the group even further, take out the ones who have not taken money from energy companies or related concerns. Then you get a tiny, tiny, tiny number who may have some relevant scientific knowledge, who cast some significant doubt on the general consensus of global warming. The fact that they are a tiny, tiny minority does not, in and of itself, rule out what they're saying. But it should give you very serious pause for thought. And you should really, really seriously pause before you believe anyone who says lots and lots of scientists say there's no such thing as global warming. I'm going to give you the 3 things that have been bugging me most from the global warming skeptic camp. First, some of the responses to the ridiculous crap Sheryl Crow said. 1 square of toilet paper. People saying that's the serious green platform. It isn't, okay? It is one attention-seeking individual saying something they knew everyone would respond to, which they later disclaimed as a joke. Okay, I actually saw on Rush Limbaugh's website a transcript of one of his radio shows where he asserted it's not a joke, it is the manifesto, the Green Manifesto, the list of things they've been circulating since the 80s. They've always wanted it. Bullshit! You're either mentally retarded or you're an outright liar. I go for the latter. But, hey, look, first, there is no such thing as a list. There is no list that's been around since the 80s that green groups have been trying to enforce on people. Second, I challenge anyone, anywhere, to find any reference from any green group prior to Sheryl Crow opening her big mouth. Just find one reference from any green group saying people should be forced to only use 1 square of toilet paper when they wipe their butt. Personally, I think he was just an evil, soulless liar, bought and paid for by vested interests. But I could be wrong. Maybe it was just the Vicodin addiction affecting his judgment again. Second, People responding to the science supporting climate change by saying, I don't believe human beings can affect something as massive as the planet. No matter what they do. The planet's just too big, humans are too insignificant to make a change. Shut the fuck up, okay? That's an opinion. You're entitled to it. It isn't science. Don't respond to science by saying, I don't believe, and say that's a credible platform, okay? You don't know what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. Thirdly, I heard one thing that really bugged the hell out of me. There were some ads done in the US, paid for by energy concerns, trying to discredit moves to have carbon emissions officially declared a pollutant. They were focusing on carbon dioxide. Now, of course, carbon dioxide is a naturally occurring gas. It's absolutely necessary for life on the planet, particularly plant life. And so some of these groups focused on saying, they're saying carbon dioxide's a pollutant. We say it's part of life. Okay, the legislation is to stop massive amounts, millions of tons of carbon being pumped into the air by factories, refineries, all these things, okay, to place some sort of limits on that. To say carbon dioxide is the giver of life. How stupid are you? No, I know, they're not stupid. They just think the public is stupid. If they repeat this crap over and over, it'll sink into people's heads. Like the idea that Al Gore said he invented the internet, which he never ever said. That was an orchestrated lie credited to a journalist who was working for Wired.com at the time. He's really proud of having done that, discrediting Al Gore. The current Wired management completely distanced themselves from him. He hasn't worked there for years. But that was an absolute lie. Gore never said it. This guy created that lie just to discredit Gore, okay? But you say something over and over again, people start to believe it's true. You know, the whole Republican talking point bullshit. It absolutely demeans public discourse, insults people's intelligence, and it scares the crap out of me that it works. But for these people saying, oh, carbon dioxide is the giver of life, I would just desperately love to get those bastards in an airtight room and pump it full of carbon dioxide and nothing else, and see how long it took them to change their tune about excessive carbon dioxide being the giver of life. Oil, that's too expensive. I'll just wrap a plastic bag around their neck and tape it up until just their own carbon dioxide emissions choke them and we have one less moron on the planet. So, in summary, look, by all means, be a skeptic on anything and everything. Ask for evidence, don't be swayed by emotion, but don't be fooled by people who are tricking you with their own emotional ploys. You know, opinion, uninformed opinion, does not trump science. Discrediting individuals does not trump science. And also just think about this, when we're considering the whole climate change, global warming scenario with the two camps, we have two scenarios, right? One could be wrong, the other could be right, whichever way you look at it. Let's say, for a moment, the global warming camp is completely wrong. It's not an issue. We will get past it. If all the controls people are asking for got put in place, anti-pollution controls, anti-emission controls, that sort of thing, if they got put in place, but we didn't really have to worry about global warming, what would be the outcome? Less pollution. Less waste? Hey, maybe less dependence on finite resources that, well, first they are going to run out one way or the other, whether it's in 5 years, 50 years, 200 years. Oil, coal, things like that will run out. And in the short term, we're dependent, us in the Western world, are dependent on some pretty volatile regions for our oil supply. It'd be nice if we weren't quite so dependent on that. So, hey, if global warming is wrong, but we followed all those rules, I don't see that as a particularly bad outcome. The big companies that would lose some of their short-term profits, they think that's bad. And you can argue that one, and hey, that's a valid argument if that's the way you go. But don't cover what it is you're really arguing. Let's flip the other side. Global warming is an issue, what the green group's telling you is true, but we side with the people who are saying, no it isn't. And they turn out to be wrong. What happens then? We are all completely fucked. That is what happens then. So, we've got on one side, possible loss of what some people see as quality of life now, but longer term balance and benefits, or we're all utterly fucked. Are you a gambler? Which bet do you want to take?